So after 11 minutes of runtime, the movie starts to pick up pace with a musical score that just doesn't fit the scene. You may as well have put disco music here. We are introduced to a man and a woman. So the man pulls out a gun and shoots through his boot. The woman goes on to comment that he is crazy.
You're crazy! You're crazy!
To which he replies,
"Think I'm crazy?"
"Yes, mate. You're the very definition." This is just Oscar-worthy acting. No wonder it took so long for Leo DiCaprio to get his, with acting chops like these. Then the guy takes a syringe of heroin, but apparently he's that off his face he forgets to inject. This is where RoboGod intervenes. The addict shoots him without saying so much as hello. But don't worry, Neil's just fine, despite the 2 bullet holes in his chest.
Have we died and gone to heaven?
Fortunately not, my good fellows. This isn't heaven. You're in a Neil Breen movie. It's as close as you're gonna get, I suppose. He gives a speech about not being angry at humanity, and then using the Force he freezes them so they can't run away. He does this despite the fact that they were just mainlining heroin. Then he removes the guy's clothes, throwing them on the floor, only to almost immediately pick them straight back up.
I've had to freeze you and make you disappear, but it's only temporary.
I'm not even sure if this is his inner monologue or Neil Breen just decided to add this in later in post. He apparently makes the 2 of them disappear. He then gets into their car and drives away, presumably leaving our dynamic duo to die of sunstroke in the middle of the desert.
The humans have taken far too long to understand solar energy.
After
But
an
they're beginning
ironic
to make
speech
progress
about
now.
how humans have taken too long to understand solar energy, followed by even more stock footage, he immediately gets back into his gas guzzler and goes on his way, contributing to the pollution of the planet. We are then treated to not 1 but 3 uncomfortably long shots of Neil fumbling around the car, trying not to look directly into the camera, as we get lots of tracking shots of Las Vegas, which are being filmed guerrilla style through the window of his car, presumably so he could film in Las Vegas without having to pay for the privilege. Our first look into the movie's antagonists come in the form of greedy politicians.
They may have an opportunity to use it now, but are they in for a surprise?
Who meet just to make 1 vague remark and then just walk away. More tracking shots of Neil driving. The next scene introduces our next main character, Amber, as she stands outside the research centre that she currently works at, having a discussion with her boss, who I will call Panda Eyes. So Panda Eyes and the girls are talking about how the government is finally taking wind and solar power seriously. This acting is next level.
Here, yeah, we're finally producing results generating solar power, as well as wind turbine power generation.
The evil politicians walk up some steps, having a chat without a single line of dialogue being dubbed in. Neil is very unhappy with all the entities on our planet that are
Corrupt
adding to the
corporations.
pollution, violence and corruption, and he pledges to eliminate them all.
I will eliminate them all.
We finally get a glimpse of what our diabolical, despicable, deplorable supervillains are up to. And it's paying off government officials not to pass the wind and solar energy bill. Those absolute bastards. John Cleese and his buddy foreshadow the end of the movie, saying only God could stop their plan. If only they knew. Also, side note, if this was a sting operation, these guys would be the FBI's wet dream. The way they just exposition dump their whole plan like this is insane.
And
Amber and an unnamed colleague are found talking about the important issues, unnamed colleagues' clothes. But here comes Panda Eyes to deliver some comedy gold.
I'm so sorry, but due to the poor economy, we're gonna have to lay you off.
Oh. Thanks, Panda Eyes. Fucking bitch. Surprisingly, Amber takes it unrealistically well.
Lawyers that prevent progress.
Neil Breen gives Panda Eyes a rose and tells her not to give up. Then he uses the force and her limp rose rises to the occasion and Panda Eyes' bean is popping out of its hood. The next shot is clearly a fucking eagle having a period all over the place. Then we get a nice, peaceful tracking shot of some neighbourhood, which is briefly interrupted with a close-up of two guys loading clips into their toy guns, and then Neil with a bloody knife. The music, yet again, does not fit the scene. We return to Amber as she walks down the street with her twin sister Cindy. Amber is telling her about how she lost her job while pushing a doll in a pram. I mean, look at it, it's a fucking doll! Which she aptly names this baby.
Have this baby.
Apparently no one was allowed to wear bras in this movie, but that aside, this dialogue's amazing.
You're hot. We're hot.
Upon losing her government research job, Cindy tells Amber that the only job she could get now is a stripper or an escort.
Become a stripper. An escort. You'd be great at that.
Then a guy rides by saying,
wow!
Presumably because the pair of dickheads are pushing a fucking doll down the street. Anyway, he falls off, then they laugh at him and walk away. Bitches. Neil walks by a giant wall carving that clearly says Justice Centre, whilst rattling off a speech about how humans still haven't developed a justice system that punishes the guilty and protects the innocent. Listen, I get what he's going for, but he could have chose a different location. The girls are taken to a gang which the company executives have formed. The guy who delivers them to him says his line with the house clearly visible behind him. Then in the next shot, it's clearly to the fucking side of him. The continuity of this movie is going to give me the runs soon. Cindy makes a comment.
Very hot. I'd like to do any of these two guys at the same time.
Despite them looking like an Addams Family lineup.
Hell yeah! I'll do her. Damn. Twins.
This guy delivers his lines like one of the characters from the OG Resident Evil.
What is this?
What is it?
Blood. Jill, see if you can find any other clues. I'll be examining this. Hope this is not Chris's blood.
Damon Wayans from Wish randomly shoots this dude through the wrist so he can go first. Amber whores herself, the scene ends. Thank God. Our antagonists yet again have a conversation that can't be heard. Then they walk down the steps to have a conversation. Pivotal scene. More exposition dump as they pay off the official, who from now on I will be calling Bill Cosby.
You say, Mom, can I have this? She says, that's a no-no. But, Mom, you know how I feel about those. But, Mom, and don't go asking your father. But, Mom, it's a Jell-O pudding pop snack. She said, fine.
Who in return won't pass the wind and solar energy bill. They tell him that his elected colleague, Mr. Smith, and his lawyer are soon to be brown bread.
We're gonna have your elected colleague, Mr. Smith, and his lawyer removed from our business affairs. Permanently.
They're going to have an unfortunate accident.
Next scene. Okay, so I have a huge problem with this scene. Blood is seen gushing everywhere. Damn eagles. Then someone, off camera, yells, "No! Don't cut off my ear!" Then they cut it off. So where the fuck was the blood coming from in the first place? The knife looks like he's just fished it out of a bucket of blood. A hand is then also removed, with ease I might add, and then the same knife footage is recycled again. The corporate executive then tells Bill Cosby he wants to send him a thank you gift that he will get later. So naturally, my first thought is, well, he's fucking dead. However, I was wrong, as immediately after, the twins are sent to Bill Cosby's house. Uh-oh.
Welcome to our...
This scene's so weird the way it's structured. So first, the twins get into the pool and giggle like they've never been in water before, which then cuts to an uncomfortable scene of Bill Cosby saying,
Double my pleasure.
The girls then proceed to walk around the pool like they're blind and then awkwardly struggle to get onto the inflatable beds. This apparently greases Bill Cosby's gears, though, as he starts rambling about the gift.
Thank you. Thank you for the gifts. It will be well worth it.
No one talks like this. Then the girls take off their bikini tops and stand there, laughing like fucking dickheads. I can just imagine Neil Breen directing the scene like, just keep laughing. Confusingly, they both walk backwards into the pool, presumably so the audience doesn't see anything, but from their perspective, there's no one there. The official then has a phone conversation with someone whilst Amber is within earshot, where he discusses how he's going to squash the bill.
Environmental solar panel development bill will fail next week.
And come to think of it, wouldn't you know who he is? Especially if it's down to him to pass the bill on her company's research. I'm probably wrong, but I'm from the UK, so I get a pass. Back to the plot. Out of pure randomness, the twins are once again stood there holding their boobs and laughing. This movie's fucking weird. He fucking squirts it out of a super soaker. I've had less violent pisses than this. They make a toast, then drink. Now I know what we're all thinking. It's lemonade. In the ruins of an old building, we find some dude sat on the floor next to his wheelchair. But this is one tough bastard, because despite the fact that he's paralysed from the waist down, as he pulls himself into the chair, he finds the will and determination to lift his legs into the stirrups without using his hands. What a guy. Neil has him in his sights, though, as he's stalking him like the Predator. The guy runs over some poor passerby's foot. What an arsehole. Naturally, the guy responds the same way any of us would, but Neil's not having that, and he melts the poor guy's eyes. Also, as the guy runs away, it looks like his t-shirt's on backwards. He uses the force to freeze everyone, who weirdly all step in unison. The guy in the wheelchair tells Neil that he has terminal cancer and a month to live, so he's always wanted to see the Las Vegas sign up close. Then he sits there gurning at it. Time to catch up with our ragtag gang of losers, who are being as discreet as always, standing out in the open reloading their toy guns.
Hell yeah!
Guy gets into a scrap and puts a knife to this guy's throat, while the cameraman tells him to stop fucking around while Bill Cosby's egging him on to kill him. What the fuck is going on in this movie? We're then introduced to Eric, the European distributor, who has the most vague accent.
Anything, worldwide. I have arranged for payoff protection, like you have. No government will catch me.
They might as well have given him an eye patch, a swastika and a croissant, because he could be from anywhere. Then all the antagonists rattle off pointless dialogue that doesn't help the scene, one at a time, to the camera. Amber is back for reasons and still isn't questioning what they're all doing there. But hooray! She has realised that being a hooker just isn't an option anymore because...
Have this baby.
Oh, and Cindy's an addict now. But Neil is hot on the wheels of Wheelchair Sam Elliott when two SAs pull up next to Neil and start cocking their toy guns. But Neil's having none of it and he uses his Jedi powers to freeze them and burst their eyeballs, leaving Wheelchair Sam Elliott to scoot off. Cindy also loses her job, and all I can think when I'm watching this scene is South Park.
We're all so sorry.
We are deeply sorry. We're sorry. We're sorry.
So Cindy has the chance to talk things over with her partner and come up with a strategy to overcome their hardships together. But fuck that. She farts all over that plan and decides that rather than worry her partner, she's going to start patrolling the streets again for meat.
I'll become a full-time hooker or stripper and not tell him the truth.
What a horrible bitch, I hear you say. But I would say, don't jump the gun, chums, as it just so happens that he has also lost his job.
I'll become a car thief and not tell her the truth.
Cindy, who sees Neil sitting on a park bench, has a feeling that she's seen him somewhere before. So as Neil sleeps, rather uncomfortably I might add, in the back of his car, we get a flashback of Cindy lay on a bed naked. Then we cut to Neil on top of her while he stares at her like she's got shit on her forehead. He then changes into his Halloween mask and Cindy is unfazed, even though Neil looks like he stinks. He must have gotten confused when she asked him did he have a rubber. Wheelchair Sam Elliott bumps into Amber while she's taking
this baby
for a walk. Neil Breen, the great deity he is, decides to take away his cancer, but in return, he gives him Benjamin Button disease, de-aging him by about 40 fucking years. He tells Wheelchair Sam Elliott to go and be with her and start a family, which is creepy because he has the life experience of a 70-year-old. Neil, you creepy bastard. He gets up out of the chair to talk to her, and she's just instantly like, yep, come and live with me and my baby. Completely out of options now, Cindy's fella becomes a car thief. Good for him, I say. But he gets his throat slit in the very next scene. And for a guy who's just had his throat slashed, he does well to let that moan out. Cindy luckily arrives just in time to see the aftermath, and in this instant, the actress just lets go.
Go! Get to the chopper!
She harnesses all of that pain and past traumas in her life and gives the most heart-wrenching scream in her entire acting career. Then Damon Wayans from Wish gets pissed off with this and shoots the corpse. This causes her to let out the exact scream 2 more times using recycled footage. Then she upchucks twice using the same footage. What's up, Chuck, I hear you say? Nothing, mate. What's up with you?
Those who don't play by our rules, lose.
It appears that there's an undercover cop in their midst and they're onto him. They identify the cop and tie him to a chair and beat him in a circle.
Stop me now. I'm having such a good time. I'm having a...
No matter how many times I watch this scene, it will always be funny to me. Meanwhile, the lawyers and politicians have a change of heart and take turns soiling themselves on camera.
I like what I see.
All of them except for Eric. Eric is loving it. The gang members cut the cop's finger off. Big mistake. Neil is having none of it. He uses his powers to freeze them, then heals the cop. Whether he gives him his finger back is up for debate. Then he tells him to go. Then he uses his powers to give them all dick warts. No, he doesn't. But he should have. He does, however, put them all onto the crosses from the beginning of the movie. It's all come full circle. Neil has now completed his intended goal. He has unalived all of the people who have hurt mankind. That's right, every single person. Next he frees Cindy. Unfortunately, her time on the movie didn't improve her acting. The bird from Twilight could give her coaching lessons. He returns to the desert and questions whether it is humanity or himself that has failed mankind. Then he strips off and returns the clothes to the addicts from the start. He wakes them up and tells them to contribute to society and not waste their lives.
Go now. Contribute. Provide for your fellow man and the planet.
Without a word, they drive away. Neil then continues to wander the desert. I still can't work out what the deal is with all the doll heads. If a baby in a pram is represented by a doll, does that mean that the doll heads in the desert are supposed to be babies that have been buried up to their necks? Neil really pushes the boundaries of runtime using all of the stock footage. He should have just threw some adverts in as well. He does zombie face one more time, then tells Cindy that he is giving humanity one more chance, or he will destroy the planet. Then in a reverse shot of the intro to the movie, he gets back into his crystal ball and fucks off, but not before saying that one day he will return to check on his experiment, and if he feels that nothing has changed, then he will atomize the Earth and turn it into dust. So that's it. That was a roller coaster of emotions, thought-provoking themes, and some of the finest acting in the history of cinema. Say what you will about Neil Breen, but he took a chance on this movie, and it clearly paid off because he's still making movies to this day. Sure, it's a fucking mess, but after my second viewing, I can at least appreciate what he was going for. I would recommend that everyone gives it at least one viewing because it is really something to behold. Maybe it will even inspire you to make your own movie one day. If not, it will at least give you a laugh. Thanks for watching. If you've made it this far into the video, I just want to say thank you so much. But if I could just ask you one more favour, if you could please like, comment and subscribe, that would be really amazing. It really does go a long way to supporting the channel. Until next time.